on the planet, Lisa Bilyeu, host of Women of Impact and Total Genius. So first, just give her some love for being here and all the comments. I know we're going over live right now to YouTube and to Facebook and all that with them. We're here. Here's the real truth. There's something really big coming, like really big, like really, really, really big. Like I've never been more excited exactly in my adult life. You reminded me of Wonder just now, my daughter Wonder, and I'm always like, how much does Mama love you? She's like, this much. I'm like, bigger, this much, bigger, bigger. It's like bigger. It's bigger. It's coming Tuesday. We're going to share it with you, September 26th. It's happening September 26th, but this coming Tuesday, we're sharing it. So I'm excited. It's going to be probably the most excited I've ever been. And it's completely free, by the way. And it is an invitation that's going to you. Something where together we're going to build unshakable self-worth and self-confidence and self-love. So I'm so excited. And how are you? How are you doing? Thank you for hanging out with me today.
Of course. Are you joking? This, guys, the 26th is going to be freaking epic. You have worked so hard behind the scenes. I don't know how much people realize how much value and heart and soul that you put into everything you do in order to create impact. And so, guys, like, you will be bummed if you miss it. And even just being here, in fact, is literally the start to something epic that Jamie has going on. I so want to say everything, but I know it's all to secrecy.
Yeah, well, if you're seeing us right now, you are the first. That's the first thing. You're literally the first to even have an inkling something big is coming. And we're coming on here to say live, or to say hello to you live, in part to test out a lot of the different pieces that are going to go into something that is going to be epic, that is for you. But if you're here live right now, you're first. You're first to even hear that something big's coming. And I just want you to ask you to mark your calendars. Because we're going to share it this coming Tuesday. So today is Friday, and we're sharing it in 3 days, this coming Tuesday, and 4 days. And if you're on my newsletter, which is free also, if you sign up at jamiekernlima.com, you're going to find out first. Literally first, before we even announce it. But I'm so excited. Mark your calendar for this Tuesday, and then mark your calendar for September 26th. It is going to be life-changing and epic, and we're going to share so much incredible wisdom together and tools on building unshakable self-worth, tools that had I learned these earlier in my life, right? Because at the end of the day, like I always think about this, it's like, what has self-doubt already cost you in your life and in your dreams and your goals and your career and your ambitions and your relationships? Like, if we can literally figure out how to silence self-doubt and build true unshakable self-worth, like when I think about a world, Lisa, where like every girl, every woman, every person actually like believe they were worthy. That is why I wrote Worthy. I literally imagine like the earth shaking with possibility when they wake up in the morning. And like the ideas that would actually, instead of being held up inside, would be launched into the world. And the businesses that would be created and the unhealthy relationships that would end. Like when I imagine a world where every person believed they're worthy, it'd be a whole different world we lived in. And so I'm so excited. I know you talk to so many people all around the world, and don't you feel like even like it doesn't matter how much someone's achieved or how accomplished they are, how much the world puts them on a pedestal. I feel like it's a universal thing that so many of us, but especially women, struggle with. Like we can build all the self-confidence and that's so important in our lives. But if underneath it all, we don't also have self-worth, then it feels like we're never fulfilled. And I feel like it's a theme that so many of us struggle with this issue. And a lot of people, despite their level of career or personal success, haven't necessarily learned how to build true self-worth. And I feel like do you see that in a lot of your guests on your show?
Oh, 100%. And like when you had told me the name of your book, it was like, it hit me like, in the most beautiful way, like a knife in my soul, because I think that people try to achieve big things. They try to build the confidence. They try to, build a business, have a great relationship, to your point. And if they don't feel worthy, then may never get started.
Yes.
And so what you have done in even just your career and your journey is about, it hasn't just been about how to create an empire and be an amazing human, but it really is, how do you feel inside? And working on your own worthiness, I think, is such a beautiful example for everyone out there right now that may be listening or watching, wondering like, how do they get there? It's like, you got to believe it. Because when you're at home at night by yourself, what's the voice in your head telling you? If you don't believe that you're worthy enough to go after that thing when you're by yourself, you're never going to go after it.
Yeah.
So
that's so good. There's this moment where my whole life I dreamed of meeting Oprah. I used to sit in my living room and watch her as a little girl. And I always thought, one day I'm going to meet her. And fast forward several decades, the first time I met her and then the first time I went to her house for lunch, I could barely believe this was happening in my life. And I was at a moment in time where I had a lot of self-confidence. I had just built a great company and all the things I had done. And I had a 4-hour lunch with Oprah. And at the end of it, she gave me her cell number and said, call me anytime. And y'all, I did not call her for 4 years. 4 years went by, right? I've never shared this full story before, but 4 years went by. And I still hadn't called her. And I would tell myself things like, oh, I just need the perfect thing to say, then I will. Or, oh, because this had been like my mentor from afar my whole life. Or, oh, people must want things from her, so I'm not going to reach out. So I don't want her to think I need anything. I'm just, all these stories I made up until one day I realized the real reason I hadn't called her. And it was because deep down inside, I didn't feel like I was worthy of being her friend. And what happens in our lives is we don't become what we want, we become what we believe we're worthy of. And we can build all the skills in the world, we can work really hard and know what we want, but if deep down inside we don't believe we're worthy, we'll either never go for it, we'll never achieve it, or we'll achieve it and sabotage it and lose it, right? To get back to the level of self-worth that we have. And what I realized was like, oh my gosh, I was really confident, and that's so important in life. And I had done all these things, but the second she gave me her cell number, there was still something inside of me where I didn't have enough self-worth to believe I was worthy of being her friend. And so I sabotaged it for 4 years. And this is the stuff we do in our life, right? I was just reading the other day that 80% of us think we have a book inside of us, but like how few actually do it. Right? There's so many things that we know in our soul we're like on this earth to do or to share or to ideate or to create or to serve others with, or maybe it's something that we finally made it through and we know like, oh gosh, I could help others make it through, but then we like feel imposter syndrome and think we're not qualified to do it. We doubt ourselves out of our own destiny so often, and it's like, okay, that is where worthy was born. I'm like, it literally, so the past several years, all I've done is focused on like, what are the tools of building unshakable self-worth? And that is why I wrote the entire book. And that is what I cannot wait. I'm donating 100% of the proceeds. This is all about like, how do we make true impact and truly change lives. So we're still a few months away from the book coming out, but I cannot wait, because literally if every one of us believe we're worthy, oh my gosh, I would have called Oprah 4 years earlier. But what else in my life would I have done? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, anyways.
Well, let's just say, like, I was trying to hold, you did so many amazing moments just now. Like, I was trying to hold, like, I don't know about you guys, I was just like sitting here in awe. Like, we talk ourselves out of our own destiny. Yes. Holy smokes. So is that the type of thing that
we should do a whole show on this about how, it's a thing. Yeah, sorry, go.
No, I was going to say, is that more of the juicy stuff that we can find coming up in your book?
Oh, yes. Okay, so here's actually what's really fun. So we've been doing kind of like, you'll see the graphic, of the book. We've been designing different cover options. And I'm actually decided I'm going to let everyone in our community pick the cover. Yeah, so we're down to like a handful of options. So next week, I'm going to be posting the ones we're down to, and I'm going to have you guys help pick. But I want to show, because we've just been doing the graphics. I just got this in yesterday, which is a sample of the paper.
That's
it's going to go on. And I'm like, I kind of love this. And what's so fun is that, and this is just temporary, but I've never seen this kind of a vibe. I love it. I feel like it's multi-dimensional, just like every single one of us is. And it has texture and layers and beauty and the light and the rainbow. I was so random, but I was reading about how rainbows are created and whether they're reflected through light or they're reflected through, in the sky, or sometimes we see them in puddles of water. And it's when the light bends that the white light separates into all the colors. Wow. And it's in the bend. And I was thinking, like, so much of our life is like the bend has to happen for the beauty to come out. And it just reminds me, all of us have been through bends, whether they're like ups, downs, hard times, things we never want to go through again. But then we see how we made it through them. And it's like, that's where the beauty comes, because a lot of times it's how we find our purpose. But that rainbow kind of texture, I just wanted to add into this for the cover. And yeah, Worthy has 23 unshakable self-worth building tools. We go deep in here. So my first book, Believe It, was like my journey of learning to believe in myself. This is the playbook on how you build unshakable self-worth. So this is a book all about you. And it's packed with tools you can apply to your life right now. And a lot of big aha moments that I wish I had learned years earlier in my life, but they're here. Yeah. They're here, and I can't wait to share them.
That's so cool. One thing I was also going to add is it's got the mirror effect. So it's kind of like as you're reading it or seeing it, it's like you see yourself. Yes. And how many of us don't actually see ourselves?
Yes. Oh my gosh. So big. That is such a big thing. And here's what's wild. Okay, there's a whole chapter in here called Do You See You? Yep, there's a whole chapter called Do You See You? And here's what's so powerful about this, to go into it without crying right now, is that so many of us don't actually even truly see other people. But when we feel someone sees us, that's the most powerful thing, right? To use Oprah as an example, after she did tens of thousands of interviews, she said every single guest, whether it was Barack Obama or George Bush or Beyonce, every single one of them at the end said, how'd I do? How'd I do? Once the show was done. And she said she learned it's this universal truth that people want to know. Did you see me? Did you hear me? Did what I say matter to you? And the moment we feel seen by somebody, it's like our soul fills up. And a lot of us work so hard to find a relationship where someone sees us, or a friendship where someone actually sees us and we feel safe with them seeing us. And even if we get to that point, so many of us still don't see ourselves. We don't see ourselves. And you can only ever have the depth of love with someone else as the depth you love yourself. Yeah. And so we go through life going, I don't get why my friendships aren't great, or whatever, all these things, but you can only receive what you can only get out of a relationship, a reflection of what you have as far as love for yourself. So in the past, I feel like there's this lie out there in society that said, oh, if you self-love or you love yourself, that's, selfish or narcissistic. And it's like, that is a lie meant to hold a lot of people back, especially women, right? Because so many girls and women were taught, like, oh, do this for everyone, have these expectations, be this way, but be that way, all the things. And we never actually learn to believe how critical it is that we have self-worth and that we have self-love. And the amount you love yourself, it was Louise Hay 40 years ago who said first, when you're seeking a relationship out there, list all the things you want in someone else and then become that person. Yeah. That was her who first said that 40 years ago. And it's so true. The depth of love you have for yourself is the depth of love you can then show up for other people, right? We think, oh, no, I can love everyone else and not myself. You can act that way, but it doesn't come out that way. And the depth of connection between you and the other person, right? That true connection where you feel seen and understood and vulnerable and raw and loved, it can't be any deeper than the one you have for yourself. So when you learn to build unshakable self-worth and to believe you're worthy is when it changes every other aspect of your life for the better. When you learn, as you said, to see yourself, it's huge. So there's even mirror work exercises in here. There's tons of stuff. So I'm very excited about it. I love that you picked up on that because, there is that mirror element to it too. Yeah.
That's so freaking powerful, everything you just said. And in a relationship with a partner, that's the number one thing they say. If it's missing from a relationship, it won't work. If you don't feel seen by your partner, it won't succeed. And so everything you're saying was so powerful. And then also even the worthy thing, I think a lot of us seek worthiness from external external sources. It's like you want to do a good job because you want to feel worthy based on how other people see you. Based on versus exactly what you're saying is like, well, if you can build it in yourself, now you're not seeking that outside. Because if someone isn't showing you what you feel like you need, now what? Does your worthiness plummet?
Yep. And what's I'm so excited for this. I like want to tell you every single detail in here because there's a whole entire chapter about self-confidence versus self-worth and how we do so much in our life that builds self-confidence, which is important, but it's all external and it fluctuates, and self-worth is internal and it doesn't fluctuate. It's harder to fluctuate. You can build it, but self-worth isn't dependent on if you win or lose, on if you hit a fitness goal or you don't, on if someone loves you back or doesn't, right? But self-confidence is dependent on all those things. And there's a lot of us that our whole life we keep striving to do more things that build self-confidence. And when we arrive at them finally, and again, self-confidence is so important. It's part of the equation to fulfillment. It's so important. But if we only build self-confidence, we'll arrive at things and we'll achieve them. We'll finally get the white picket fence or the job title or whatever it is. And something's missing. We feel like something's missing. And it's because we've spent our whole life striving for these things and building confidence and all the great things, but we haven't built self-worth. And if you don't have that as your foundation, it's like, changes everything. I like literally want to dive in. We were just coming on for a few minutes. We were supposed to come on
the best interview ever. Hopefully we're recording this because this woman's fine.
This isn't even planned. We're going to come on for 5 minutes just to test the technology for something big that's coming that we're going to announce this Tuesday, by the way. So please check back here on my Instagram, YouTube, all of it Tuesday, your email. But if you want to know earlier, make sure you're signed up for my newsletter at jamiekernlima.com. And pre-order worthy book, of course. By the way, tons of bonuses. I haven't even talked about any of that. But we're here just to say hi as like a preview for something that we're going to share this Tuesday that's going to be huge and epic, that's happening September 26th. So it's live. It's free. You're invited. There's so much I have to share with you. We're just here to like say hi and test the tech. And now we're going like deep dive into Worthy, which I love so much because there's so much coming. So that's so funny. No, we were going to go live for 5 minutes.
Yeah. So just so people know, Jane was like, hey, will you come on? I was like, in this mess? But
I'm like, let's just do it.
I feel worthy enough
yes,
to make sure that I show up.
I love it.
I
love it. Are we good? Yeah, we're good? Should we?
We don't want to end it ever. I got some questions for the woman.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do a whole, you and I need to go deep dive into this because this is the thing. Like, I feel like I could talk about this for hours, but also it's just the stuff, like it's everything. It's everything because it's everything. It affects every area of our life. And that's why I'm so excited for this book. It's literally like, honestly, this book is the best work of my life, hands down. And I feel like it also is the most important so far because I think it's just going to affect the most number of people. So I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. I love you, by the way.
I love you too.
And let me just take a minute. Thank you for impacting millions of women's lives, right? Lisa has a show, Women of Impact. It's amazing. Your YouTube channel is amazing, all of it. But the interviews that she does, and she goes deep, and I've been on her show, and you leave her show, you're like, whoa, that was good. Like, she asks questions no one else ever asks you and goes deep into stuff that matters. I feel like you understand what people need to hear. And I think that's one of the most, like, one of your many, many, many superhero talents. But just to share that, if you're not following Women of Impact, check it out.
Can I just say, though, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second, because this woman, literally, we're here for you to show up, like to talk about your book, amazing things that you're doing. And she still can't help herself, but like literally spill her energy, time, and just onto the people around you. And so like, I haven't even read your book yet, which what does one have to do to actually get a, to get a version of it so I can read? But like the hard work you've put in, no one has seen. Guys, she's poured her heart and soul into this book, your heart and soul. And so Tuesday, you're going to announce something major.
Big news.
But on the 26th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're doing something epic.
Epic that you're invited to. That's free. It's going to be life-changing. I can't wait. Thank you for doing this 5-minute live with me. And I love you guys so much. So we're going to pop off of here for today, but stay tuned because something big is coming, and I can't wait. And I love you, and you are worthy.